You picked this bottle out.
I just like the way
Did you pick it out, or was it Isaiah? Who picked it out? You picked it out?
Yeah, I just like the way it looked.
Why'd you pick it out?
It says larceny.
But what do you like about it
The
specifically?
keys on the top.
That's what caught your eye?
Yeah.
Just that simple design?
Yeah. I'm very simplistic.
Okay.
Or just simple. Depending.
Depends on what I've had to drink.
All right. So you want to crack the top on that? We can get into
Sure.
it. I don't have anything else to say about it.
We've never had this before, which is...
Yeah, we've never had this on the show before. That's correct. And
Oh, did you want me to tell the story of like how we selected this?
well, that's kind of what I was getting at.
Oh, okay. All right. So yeah, like
I don't have a big backstory on this other than it's
No.
made by Heaven Hill Distillery. Which we've talked about Heaven Hill at great length on previous episodes, so I'm not going to go any further into it. But the background on why you picked this bottle, because I know that you were perusing the aisles of your local liquor store.
Yeah,
and
what
you
we
landed
did-
on this. There's a lot of whiskey out there, so why?
What we did was Isaiah and I pulled up Instagram and
Yeah.
we looked up the brands and wanted to see like who had like a really good following.
Who was active?
Yeah, like who's active, who has a following, who's like posting, because there's some synergy there.
Who can we glom onto?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so Larceny popped up
Larceny
as pretty
popped up.
active.
Yeah, they got some good stuff going on.
Do you recall what their last post was about?
People,
Just people consuming
like,
it?
yeah.
All right.
It's like, yeah.
Not anybody in particular?
They do like the heavy contrast pictures of
Yeah.
like the bottle
Yep.
and the glass, like yeah, shit like that.
Okay.
And then it's like got like the key and then the keyhole. And I thought that was cool. But
All right. That's
But-
great.
you said you've had this, right?
I have had it before, yes.
I have not.
Yeah. I've only ever had this particular version of Larceny. I know there's a couple of different, like, they have a couple of
this is
different
the small
options.
batch.
But this one I have had before, yeah.
Got
All right. Yep. Oh, I got it. We're good. Small batch, 92. Let's see if they have a nice little description on the back. Oh, my goodness. This is
You need your
paradise.
glasses.
Okay, so Johnny Fitzgerald's weakness was fine bourbon. As a
So-
treasury agent who at the time was the only person legally allowed to carry keys to the rick houses, he gave in to temptation, freely taking from the best barrels of each rick house.
So lush.
Yes.
Big lush.
Those that contained weeded bourbon. Those that contained weeded bourbon. Just got bourbon twice here. Made with wheat instead of the traditional rye. These eventually became known around the distillery as Fitzgerald barrels. Now Larceny Bourbon honors both the superb taste of this lawless treasury agent and the legacy of the old Fitzgerald brand. So interesting, not really any description of the taste on this bottle, which is something
But
I feel
how
like
much
is kind of
Johnny was
unique.
stealing from these barrels.
Yeah. A bottle with a criminal past. All right.
Larceny. Oh, I get it now. He's stealing. It's larceny.
Yes,
Yeah.
indeed.
He had the
indeed.
keys to the city.
Yep. All right. Well, speaking of criminals,
You ready? You want to get into that?
sure, we can talk about it just for a brief second. I feel like this really is the podcast for Ezra Miller, but it seems as if he was finally arrested. Don't hurt yourself.
Man, that hurt.
Jeez.
I'm all right.
My goodness.
Fuck my elbow up.
Damn.
I'm all right, though.
So Ezra Miller got arrested. I thought the charge was interesting. It was something related to burglary,
Felony burglary.
I don't even know what that means.
I tried to find like what that means.
What is felony burglary in contrast to standard
Like,
burglary?
yeah.
Is this in
Josh?
Vermont?
Yeah.
Is this where it was?
Yeah.
It's like all burglary in Vermont.
Is
a felony?
all burglary a felony? Or is there something specific to that?
Because
You get like mail from you get to like steal from a post office?
like I feel like you steal from like a government.
I think if
Grounds?
you assault a postal worker, it's
That's
a
a felony.
felony.
That is
offense.
definitely a felony. Yep.
Yeah.
I'll get back with you on
All
Okay.
right, great.
all
All
right.
right, do some
Yep.
research. Let us know.
Yeah,
But it seems like his, reign of terror might be coming to an end.
And I mean, it started out as like, I'll say like it did start out as kind of like, funny. I never want to laugh at anyone's misfortune, but this part of it is very concerning because like in the article I read, it's like now there's like children on his farm running around with bullets in their
Okay,
mouth
that's what I was
and
going to
shit.
say. I was going to say, in comparison to the other
Yeah.
stories of like him having child slaves and stuff.
Yeah, like we make jokes, but like now it's getting like, okay, somebody's got to get involved here. Like it's What happened?
We all right, guys?
Oh yeah, we're good. We were just talking. Sorry.
Oh,
sorry about that. Yep. I figured you were just going to duck my mic there.
Oh,
you know,
sorry.
for a second.
No, it's
sorry.
fine.
I thought something
Isaiah
happened.
airdropped me the link to the Vermont legislature, the page. The problem
thank
is
God.
that they use the word felony simply to describe what burglary is, not necessarily what felony burglary is.
Okay, so we're jury's
Yes.
out on that.
The intent, right, with the intent to commit a felony, so on and so forth, is the definition of burglary, breaking in.
I think it's
Could
just
just
a
be,
felony
yeah.
in Vermont.
In and of itself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Misdemeanor version.
A burglary. So in the article, like he broke into a couple's home while they weren't there, like ransacked like their liquor cabinet, and like I guess he stole like something else, and then like they caught him via their home security system, like the video. They gave it to the police, and they're
That would
like,
be terrifying.
"Yeah, that's Ezra Miller."
God, could you imagine pulling up your security cameras and Ezra Miller's just rummaging through your house?
And
This is a scary looking boy right
yeah,
there.
bro. And you know,
not
like,
who you wanna see on the
Sometimes
other
he
end of
has
that
like
camera.
makeup with like eyeshadow. He's a pretty strange guy. And
I don't know how they saw him. He must have been so quick. Wasn't he in the Flash?
He still is, technically.
He's still, yeah.
I feel like given the scope of his accusations, the crimes that he has committed,
It's time. to go.
burglary seems like a
Low on the totem pole.
seems mild.
Yeah,
at
child.
best.
He's had child endangerment, I guess. Yeah, it's really concerning at this point.
Do we know why he was having children chew bullets? Did he?
No, I don't.
All right. Well,
But apparently, there's another young lady living with him at wherever he is, but all on his farm in Vermont that also doubles as an unlicensed cannabis farm.
I think we can call it a compound at this point.
He's
At
got-
what point, how many firearms do you need before it's a compound?
I think it's about size of your like house. Is it multiple
Houses with
Houses.
Sure,
fences.
many buildings.
and maybe a
Right.
barricade, like a wall?
How much money does he
call 'em
have?
that.
Does he
I
have
think
a-
you have to be able to like move. I think you have to have some size to it. I don't. What is the definition of compound? All right. let's
Yeah.
see what they say.
I don't know, man. I'm kind of hoping that this is what closes out the Ezra Miller chapter. And again, man, fucking HBO won't they won't do anything about it. They're
No,
still moving
well,
forward with the Flash.
They must. I think Warner Brothers is very committed for whatever reason to the Flash movie, which again still is so far out. It's a year out. So that's it is baffling. But they must have enough money invested in it, and it must be good enough that they feel as if it's worth sticking with it.
I just feel
suppose.
bad for Michael Keaton.
I don't.
He's getting
I
involved.
don't. He should never have. He should never have agreed to this. I'm not. I can't
It's
believe.
not- I don't think it's his fault.
it's 100% his fault.
So, a compound is a parcel of land used for communal or multi-generational living.
Okay, so
Got
a
it.
communal or multi-generational dwelling.
Got
I
it.
feel like that matches it. I mean, there's
That
this
makes-
woman that he's maybe
So it's
related to, maybe
communal.
not.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you could just
For
have like
children.
a house as long as it's communal or family-based dwelling, and you can consider it a
Further
compound.
definitions will say that it's usually multiple dwellings.
Okay, multiple
Yeah.
dwellings.
It's like house,
So you gotta
big
have-
house,
So,
two small, three smaller houses.
he owns the
Got to have some like satellite properties
Yeah.
on the
Right,
property.
right.
Anyway, back to Michael Keaton. That was his fault. He should never have agreed to that. I don't know why he ever came back as the Batman. That seems like a huge mistake.
I think it's like a
Not
full circle
necessary.
thing for him. Passion.
He-
It's its passion project.
Go out on top, man.
Passion character.
You already had your time in the light of DC. Move on. You did Marvel. Move on.
Yeah, I don't know if I would have went back to that shit show.
I don't. There's no. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I feel
unless
like
he's strapped for cash, but I feel like he's got.
I think he's doing
Can't be
pretty
the
good.
case,
Yeah.
right?
Every time he calls the studio, he gets somebody different.
He has to be.
And they're like, "Who is this?" He's like, "Michael Keaton." And they're like, "Yeah, please hold." And it's never the same fucking person. I feel bad for him, bro.
Damn. Let's wrap up some DC stuff, and we'll close out on some comic stuff. We won't spend as much time on it today.
All right.
But Why don't you talk about the Black Adam post-credit thing real quick? Because I'm very unfamiliar with what
So
this bit of news
we had,
is.
what was it, Comic-Con like 2-3 weeks ago?
Yes.
And The Rock just stood there in the Black Adam suit, and they gave the new trailer, and they're all like, DC is like, all right, so we're gonna get on the Black Adam hype train.
Yeah.
And apparently the movie really had no significant ties to anything else in the DC.
Yeah, I would
EU.
imagine it didn't.
And after what was that last week when they had the earnings call, apparently they knew this was going to happen.
Yeah.
So they kind of proactively said, look, we're going to immediately shoot
Something else
to
tie
tie
in.
Yeah. So I don't know if it's Superman. I don't know if it's Shazam. But they went and shot like these post-credit scenes
I can't
to tie
imagine
in.
it's gonna matter.
Me either, man.
I have little to no interest in the
I
Black Adam
don't care for the
movie.
Rock as Black Adam. I don't.
I like The Rock. I just have no interest in the Black Adam film.
No,
It doesn't
no,
look. It just looks very mediocre to me. It does not look like anything that's going to have.
I'm not interested.
It does not look like it's going to be successful. Batgirl footage has been surfacing online. I predicted this last
had a
week.
feeling that
I
was gonna
feel
happen,
like
yeah.
I feel like this is just going to keep
It's gonna until the whole
ramping
movie is
up.
out.
Everybody is like very worked up about the fact that the Batgirl movie is not coming out. Although I did see the video of God, what's his name? The Mummy. Brandon Fraser? Yeah, because he's the villain in it.
Who is he supposed to be?
I don't know. Some guy that shoots fire.
Firefly.
Firefly. There it is. Boom. But there's a scene of him
Ridiculous.
fighting, and
He's on DC's
fighting
payroll though.
Batgirl.
He's in Doom Patrol, their show on HBO.
yeah.
So
All right. Very
Yeah,
good.
whatever.
So we kind of knew that was going to happen. Jamie Foxx says Spawn is low budget like Joker, but in a good way.
yeah, he says that it has the same magical elements that Joker had with like Joaquin Phoenix, and I'm sorry, I don't see any magical elements in Joker.
So back up. Spawn, he's doing Spawn.
He's gonna be Spawn.
He's
with
gonna
him
be
and
Spawn.
apparently him and Todd McFarlane are like working like cohesively to put together a very developing, compelling story. Something totally different than the Michael Jai White stuff back in the 90s. But
Which is kind of a cult classic at this point.
yeah, that was Michael Jai White, John Leguizamo. But I just don't really put any faith in what anything Jamie Foxx gets on
Why
the
is that?
internet and talk, because we were supposed to get the Mike Tyson movie for about 20 years now. He gets on like these interviews and he like really hypes up
Hype stuff
these
up.
passion projects he's gonna do, and then we never see him. So like now it's Spawn. Then before that it was Mike Tyson, and before that it was something else, and we never saw.
So
him.
this is speculative at this point. It's not a confirmed thing.
Well, it is confirmed that they are working on Spawn. Will it come out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not even any test footage. Nothing. Just
All right.
Jamie Foxx talking about it. I love Jamie Foxx. Don't get me wrong.
Sure.
But he does this.
All right. Not a great track record.
No.
All right. Anything else on the comic book front? DC, Marvel?
No, everybody's been pretty hush hush since Comic-Con. I mentioned last week, I think the last thing I saw was like Ninja Turtle stuff coming to Netflix or whatever it's coming to. But that's it. That's really.
All right.
Oh.
But Sandman. Let's talk about that real quick. Have you started Sandman on
I
Netflix?
started it last night. I watched the first
episode.
Yeah, last night. It was very long. Did you watch it?
I've not watched any of it yet.
Okay.
So let's do one thing real quick, and then we're going to talk about.
Okay.
I've got some questions.
All
The
right.
first thing, just a quick hot take.
Yeah.
You saw the first episode.
Yes.
You enjoy it?
I did.
Okay. Now we're going to backtrack. Sandman, the comic,
Yeah.
is this more of a graphic novel kind of thing, or
I
did
never
he
read
have a
it.
whole series?
I
You've
know
never read it?
nothing about it.
Nothing. You know zero about Sandman?
I know I think it's published by DC. It's not like in their like comic book universe. I think it's just like a graphic novel comic
Okay.
thing that comes out of the publishing house part.
Yeah.
But I never read it. I don't really know. I know of Sandman.
It's very like critically acclaimed though.
Yeah, I heard
in the comic book world. is
people
my
are
understanding.
hyped about it.
Okay. They're
And,
hyped about the show, or they're hyped about the
the
comic?
book.
The book.
And so,
They're hyped about it because it's a Neil Gaiman book.
Yeah.
oh,
That
okay,
name came up.
okay, that's why. It's
Significance of this name for those that don't know, like me.
I just know him as a good writer.
Neil Gaiman, American Gods.
There you go. Yeah,
That
American Gods.
series,
Okay.
big graphic novel guy. Yeah.
Big graphic novel
that
guy.
turned into great TV.
Got you. Okay.
So, if
All
you
right.
did you watch American Gods?
No. I did
Okay,
not.
this is kind of
It's in that same
in vein of that.
very-
The
very
imagery.
similar in the way. I haven't watched it, so I'm not gonna.
Oh, it's okay. Yeah.
You
Yeah, yeah,
remember how the cinematography was for 300?
yeah. Yes.
Now take that and add like mystical, biblical like imagery.
Yeah.
Right. That's what like American Gods was.
Okay. So back to
Sandman.
that's helpful. Back to Sandman. We don't know much about the graphic novel. We're out of the
I didn't
loop
read it.
on that. But you're enjoying the show.
So the show, I like that I don't know anything about it
Yeah.
besides just having like the surface level knowledge of it, and like from when I'm reading on like the internet and like peers and stuff like that. Going into it, I didn't really know what to expect. The pacing of it is done surprisingly well. I don't know when you're watching it. I think the one thing that they did do, and this is without trying to spoil it, and I want to get to what you're saying in a second. I think in the vein of like American Gods, it's filmed like you're watching a dream,
Okay.
right? Like how the things move, the transitions, the lighting. So when you watch it, and you'll notice what I'm talking
Feels
about.
a little strange.
Weird. It's a little weird. Yeah.
All right.
What were you gonna say?
It moves. The pacing is also dreamlike.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
it's not slow, but it's not snappy.
Yeah.
It's lucid. The
Okay.
pacing
It's very lucid. Yeah.
Lucid pacing.
Yeah. Like something happens and then it just goes to the right into the next thing.
Interesting.
And it's a lot of narration because it has to have the narration to kind of
That's
keep
the
you.
First episode. I
Yeah.
know a couple episodes that.
And that kind of stops.
You're a few episodes in.
Yeah. So
Okay.
the pacing doesn't really change from
Okay.
the first episode. It's still very up and down. Like, things happen, but it's like it seems like you're stuck on one thing for a while, and then like a dream.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you're
Yeah.
at the next thing.
Okay.
But it doesn't feel weird.
It was. No, I mean, I'm not gonna say I enjoyed it. I was intrigued by what I was seeing. So I will definitely.
Not far enough in yet to say whether or not it's good.
Yeah. I think.
Okay. That's
It was.
good.
It's very, very weird imagery, and not in a good way, and not in a bad way. I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, this is weird, but like I'm intrigued. Like,
All right. Well, I've not started it yet, but I'm going to get into it soon. Emily's been talking about it a little bit, so I'm sure it's on the docket. Back to your thought on, when you mentioned that you were enjoying it because you didn't know anything about it, and that was fun for you, which is unusual for comics, right? Peter Jackson has said that he sought the help of a hypnotherapist to potentially try to forget the Lord of the Rings movies because he wanted to experience them as if he hadn't made them and already knew what was going to happen. There was an article on this. He never went through with it, but he did consult with somebody about it, which is kind of an interesting concept.
I think
Dedicating that much time of your life, and
Yeah.
your life to something, and then wanting to forget the creative process so that you could enjoy it.
I'm not gonna shit on him because I feel like all four of us are creatives in a respective right. And I guess the only empathetic thought I have there is like when you're cooking and
You don't want to remember that you cooked.
or you lose your appetite as you're creating the meal. You see what I'm saying?
How did this Taco Bell get here?
So like after you're done making your steak and potatoes, you're like, shit, I've been smelling this and tasting it as I'm cooking it.
Is that a common thing for you where
Me?
you
Yeah, I don't
you
wanna-
cook and then you lose your appetite?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Really?
As someone who cooks a lot in the majority of the family meals at the house, like I
Damn.
do Thanksgiving at my house.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's a big undertaking, Thanksgiving.
Oh.
That's a lot.
I do,
They get busy over his house.
I do
A Jamaican Thanksgiving, bro? Oh my gosh.
Easter, all the big meals, I do. So Thanksgiving,
Why do you do them? Why did you adopt that role? Is that like what? Like how
my
does
mom got sick
okay.
and she couldn't do it for a while, so I slowly picked up a lot of the cooking responsibilities.
Okay.
But then when she got better, she was like, "Oh, I kind of like not doing it."
Yeah.
So now it's kind of she bakes. I
Yep. So you had to take over and cover a few Thanksgivings, and then it just kind of became the norm. It became kind of
Well, your
like,
dad
now
cooks.
that you know how to
Yeah.
do it.
His dad cooks.
He realized that he realized that I could
Cook, and he kind of stopped doing
He
it.
was like, "Oh no, I don't need to do this anymore."
When I was growing up and I was small, well, not small, when I was a teenager, I'm what our cousins, a Yankee. I'm from the States, like I'm Black American. In our culture, like the women cook, right? And then I go over to to his house. His dad's Jamaican.
Yeah.
Our cousin Ricardo, Jamaican. They cook. Like they are the cooks. They're the
Sure.
chefs, right? And then they make all the all the meals, and I'm
Okay.
just like, oh, this is some new shit. And I like it. You know what I'm saying? Like, this
Yeah.
is dope. Like,
Yeah.
so I would go over to their house, and his dad would do all of the Jamaican food, and then his mom would do the traditional Black American food,
Okay.
soul food and shit. And it's a wonder. It's
All right. So
yeah.
in a Jamaican Thanksgiving preparation, if you will, what's the big what is it a completely different experience food wise, or is it kind of the same
So
deal?
for us, because my mom's American,
Yeah.
I get the best of.
You get the best of
So
everything.
I'm still gonna make a turkey. And
Sure.
macaroni and cheese and the
Turkey, mac and cheese, all that.
Turkey, yeah.
collard greens and
All
ham.
that good shit.
We're still gonna do all that.
So you get all the traditional staples, but then you also get some other
But you're also gonna get
Curry chicken.
oxtail.
Yeah.
I feel like making jerk chicken. We're gonna get jerk chicken.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna get that stuff too. So it ends up being this big meal. Now I usually don't cook the Jamaican.
Smorgasbord.
My aunt usually does.
Damn.
But
Very Jamaican of you.
American food, when you start cooking on Wednesday night
yeah.
and then you've smelled everything, you've tasted everything,
You don't want any.
finish off
Yeah.
on Thursday right before dinner starts.
Oh man.
That's the smallest meal I eat.
Yeah.
You don't have a taste for it by the time it's
But that's
time
like
to
a
eat.
marathon of cooking. We're talking days of cooking. So I understand the concept of maybe getting to the end of that and being a little I'm just more exhausted than anything else. But you're at home, you're making a sandwich.
Oh no, sandwich.
You're
yeah.
starting off famished, and then you get to the end of that.
You're all side arguing you're
Cold
not cooking
cut.
a sandwich.
Yeah,
You get to the end of that
that's a
cold
quick-
cut, and you're like, "Damn, I'm out."
And also, are we comparing the Lord of the Rings franchise to a salad?
No, but I'm thinking of a lengthy gourmet meal you're preparing.
Yeah, no, I
right?
mean he lost probably a couple decades of his life
Yeah.
to it, but sure. Yeah, I don't. So yeah, you want to Shazam away your meal prep, and Peter Jackson wants to forget and
Yeah.
Shazam away his
That's the best analogy I got.
his movie making experience. I thought it was a strange thing to even make really a comment on. I mean, I guess it's kind of a interesting bit of history to.
Did he just come out and say this?
Well, so no,
He
they were
just was
talking
like-
about the new Lord of the Rings series on Amazon, right? That's coming out at the end of the month. And apparently, Amazon had reached, the story is that Amazon reached out to Peter Jackson originally, and they wanted his involvement in the show. They wanted him, they weren't he wasn't really sure in what capacity that they wanted him to be involved, but he said that I would have to, in order for me to be involved, I have to read the scripts first. And they said, okay, great, we'll get you some scripts. And then the scripts never showed up. So he was just kind of out of the loop at that stage in the game. And people were asking whether or not he felt slighted by that. And he was saying that he actually kind of enjoys the prospect of being able to enjoy a Lord of the Rings
Project without knowing.
without having been directly involved, like without knowing everything that went into it or knowing like how it all, kind of plays out, right? So it was just that is kind of why I guess that fun fact surfaced.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is
Fire
this
away.
Lord of the Rings series a prequel, sequel?
My understanding
middle?
is that it takes place beforehand. I'm not a Lord of the Rings expert by any means. I enjoy the Peter Jackson
Oh,
series
yeah,
very
stuff was good.
much.
Yeah.
I have some Lord of the Rings memorabilia, and I'm certainly a fan of that. But I don't know the history of it all too well. I do think that this story arc in season 1 does predate what we see in the Lord of the Rings. I think this is kind of the establishing of the Rings of Power. I could be wrong.
Ah, okay.
It
okay.
says here that the series is set thousands of years before The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings in the Second Age of Middle Earth.
Second Age of Middle
Very good.
Earth.
And presumably, I don't know this for sure, maybe it says in the article, but there would be some big villains or some baddies and other characters that would be current, right? Because this would be the time of the rings kind of coming about.
I'm at a disadvantage because I
know nothing.
So
deciding
this is
what I see.
speculation. I don't know. My understanding is, and I could be completely wrong, so take this with a grain of salt, but my understanding is that it's going to tell the story of like the rings,
How they came
and
to
kind
be.
of them coming to power. Like
Got it.
I know it's called the Rings of Power or whatever, but I think the idea was to tell that story a little bit. So I'm wondering if we would get some of the primary, villains kind of in their
Yeah.
original state in this.
I'm going to watch it.
the Rising
storyline.
of Sauron.
There you go. Yep, that's my point.
Yep,
So like this
yep.
is like he's around
Yep.
in a real way, not like a
Like this is kind of
Spooky eye in
a
the
lot
sky.
a very broad origin story for a lot of these characters.
yes, correct. Yes, it's kind of what kicked it all off,
Got
if
it.
you will. Yep.
So, in the books,
The books, yep.
Yeah.
The Silmarillion is the history book of
Say it again. The
Silmarillion.
Silmarillion.
Marillion.
Silmarillion.
Silmarillion.
Essentially, the history
The history of the rings.
of the hobbits.
Oh, okay, got you. Okay, and that's what the show is
Sure,
based
sure.
off.
That's in the it says in the show-
Silmarillion. Silmarillion.
Great.
I can't say it.
All right.
Silmarillion.
You're saying it right.
I don't like that word at all.
It's not for me.
We'll cut that part out.
I do not like that word.
It's not for me.
Silmarillion.
That versus the Game of Thrones prequel. Is there one that you're more interested in? Because they both kind of are coming out around the same time. I think
I
one's
th-
September, one's end of August. It's
I think
obviously
more Game of Thrones
competition.
because I feel it's more adult themed and like they can kind of be a little more on the mature side.
You like the sex and the violence.
Yeah, I like dragons, but some titties are cool every once in a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 So they're saying more dragons but less titties in this.
In the Lord of the Rings, I don't think there's gonna be
No. They're saying that for the new Game of Thrones.
less titties.
Yes, they're scaling back on that. That's what I've read. More dragons though.
Okay, that's okay.
Well, presumably the dragons won't be wearing clothes, so does it
Dragon-
really make up for
dragon
it?
titties?
Who knows? Open mind.
Yeah.
We don't know.
I mean, like I'm an adult and I can.
You feel like there's more adult themes in the Game
Yeah.
of Thrones kind of world.
I think that's the
than-
kind of the archetype that they set.
Yeah.
Right. Like this is fantasy, but it's adult fantasy,
I
and not
gotcha.
in like a porno way. But
So you
this
think that
is-
Lord of the Rings is just it's going to play to a younger
Yeah.
audience
Oh
a
yeah.
little
Definitely.
more.
I feel like this is definitely gonna
It has to because Lord of the Rings is
children's book, right?
not only is it a children's book, but it's I forget the word that I'm looking for, but it's an analogy for Christianity and Christian themes.
What is the word? I know the word. I'll get back to you. Yeah, but yeah, it's a. Yeah,
All right.
Are we going for allegory?
Allegory.
there you go.
Damn.
There he is.
There
Fact
it
checking, John.
is. All right. So you're more stoked for the Game of Thrones.
Titties.
Okay. All right. Very good. You watched. You have something to add to this?
I was just going to say we never came
Oh, we
back to
went-
this. I don't know
That's
if you
okay.
want to.
Well, let's take a
That's
break.
up to you guys, you know?
No, it's great. Let's take a break.
I'm enjoying it.
You want to talk about it a little bit? Give us your thoughts.
Let me just taste it one more time. Hold on.
Yeah, taste it one more time.
Are you tasting the buttery caramel and honeyed notes with a rich mouthfeel?
I was gonna say there's a sweet syrupy taste, and I think that's the butter. It's pleasant. It's pleasant to the palate. It has a little bit of a bite, which I don't mind as a drinker. I like it, man. I could drink this on the regular. I don't mind it at all.
Yeah, I would agree.
It's got a
Yeah,
nice taste. I
does.
feel like it's a little hard.
Yeah.
It's a little harsh.
It's a little hard. Yeah.
It doesn't. It's not like it's got a smooth finish or like start. It's kind of pretty.
They describe it as long, gently sweet and savory.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Which is
definitely
also how I was
savory.
described.
It's
By at least several people.
That was your
I can't give references though.
your nickname in college.
Yep, that's
Long,
right.
sweet, and savory.
Exactly right. That's correct. Gently sweet.
all right. So we're saying we would drink Larceny again for the most part, unless you're looking for something that's smooth.
I like it, and if you like to still liquor, this is a drink for you.
What's the drink for you?
Yeah.
All right. Very good.
Excellent.
Any more thoughts?
No, that
More
was it.
thoughts,
Thank you.
Thoughts.
So it's
Just
two
nods.
thumbs
All
up
right, very good.
around the room.
Okay. I feel like we've only had like one or two bourbons, whiskeys on the show that we've not liked, to be honest.
Yeah, whatever that other bullshit is.
Yeah, that was bullshit.
Woodbine? Is that what it's called?
Woodenville?
Woodenville? Yeah, fuck
Yeah.
that.
Do you remember the tin can that we had
Yes.
way back?
Yes.
That was garbage.
Stillhouse.
Yeah, it was like
Still
seven,
House,
it was like
yeah, that
$7.
was
Stillhouse.
garbage.
Wasn't that made by
Some hits, some influencer.
There was a dude
Yeah.
that dated Halsey.
Yeah.
It was his whiskey.
G-Easy.
Yes.
There you go.
That's
he
why
was
I got it.
involved in it in some capacity.
Yeah.
Yep.
I doubt he owned it.
That's why I got it, because I saw something with G-Easy on
Yes.
Instagram. I thought it'd be cool.
Yes. What happened to that guy? Is he still around? I only knew him in the context of the fact that he dated Halsey.
No,
Because I listened to Halsey, so like I always like that's my only reference for him.
every like 3 to 4 years, like a white rapper comes out and they're like super hot,
Yeah.
and then they disappear.
Sure.
Like, so it was like Post Malone, who is kind of still around.
Yeah, I was
And then
gonna
it was
say,
G-Eazy.
he's pretty around.
He's kind of gone now. And then now there's Jack Harlow, who's like the new G-Eazy.
Yeah,
And,
he's really been cleaning up.
yeah.
People
yeah.
love Jack
I
Harlow.
like Jack Harlow, yeah.
He's got like
Like Jeezy.
I find it funny.
I don't
that,
know if I like Jeezy.
I never.
I mean, you bought his liquor.
I bought it
That's
because
true, you
he's
did buy his liquor.
I didn't buy his music, though.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah.
I feel like everybody is on the Jack Harlow.
I like Jack Harlow.
How does that happen?
No idea who it is.
How does
I'll
that
be honest
happen?
with you guys.
Like, where did he get all these connections? How does he show up with like all of these people on his
Drake
record?
and
Every
Megan Thee
Justin
Stallion.
Timberlake's
Justin-
on.
Well,
How did that happen?
because he's very palatable.
Yeah, he is.
Sure, but like, who's the person that's connecting all of these dots for him?
The
He didn't
record
just like
label is-
wake
the-
up and meet
label
all of
execs.
these people.
The label.
The label execs are
And
like,
he's pretty, and he's good friends with other influential black
Yeah.
rappers.
Okay.
that are up and coming.
Yeah.
So like he's good friends with the ESTG. It's his good friend.
yeah, they're both from Kentucky. And I don't want to get us derailed, but what I kind of did a little research on Jack Harlow, and this is totally not part of the show, but it's just random. Apparently, he really like did the work. Like he's been rapping since he was like 12, and like did the tours, like really was like committed to like this is what I want to do, and then got his break, and then he just did the circuits, and now he's here.
Now here we are.
Yeah, so
All right,
Big up
very
to
good.
him.
Good for him. Congratulations. Shout out to Jack Harlow.
yeah,
You watched Prey?
I did.
You watched Prey. All right, great. We'll talk about Prey
Pray for
a
me.
little bit because we can do a little deep dive on Prey. We both
I
saw
like
it.
Prey.
It's not often that we both watch something. at the same time,
At the same
week
time.
that it came out.
It's usually like, did you watch it? Yeah. Did you
no.
like it? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I'll watch it.
And then I'll watch it like 3 months later, and then we'll talk about it.
yeah.
But yeah, let's talk about Prey real quick. Thoughts? Did you enjoy it? Are you a Predator fan?
Big
Let's back
Predator
up to
fan.
that. Are you a Predator or an Alien guy? Which side of the fence do you fall on? I feel like it's one or the other for most people.
Probably more Predator. I feel like the Alien story
Mm-hmm.
has kind of gotten a little rocky along the way, where Predator has kind of just,
Interesting.
it's kind of the same formulaic thing. It's like Predator comes, has an adversary, got to fight a bunch of people, and then they kill him at the end, and then that's it. Like, it's over.
You like the concept of
I think it's
Predator
easier.
more than you like the concept of Alien.
They've really tried to give Aliens this really deep historic lore and
Yeah.
really reshape the franchise. And
Yeah.
there's been so many different parts. And there was Prometheus and
Yes,
then
there
Alien
was.
versus Predator. Like, there's just been so many parts to the Alien story
Mm-hmm.
that the Predator story didn't get and doesn't need, honestly. It's a hunter.
Okay.
They're ancient hunters from space.
Yeah, sure.
And that's
I
what
get
they
it.
do. You know what I'm saying? Like, though I did really, really appreciate the story in Aliens versus Predator, but
I'm an Alien guy
really,
through and through. I have an Alien tattoo.
you do.
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah. I got the Alien one. Prometheus is in there. They're all in there. Whalen Industries.
I'm gonna get a.
It's all in there. I don't have a Predator tattoo yet,
I'm gonna get one.
but I could get one.
I'm gonna get one.
I like Predator a lot. I have been checked out on pretty much most things Predator. Aside, like the original is so amazing, so
Aged
good.
very well. That and the first and second one aged pretty good.
The second one though really fell into the campy category, so you had
Yeah.
to be on
On board.
You had to be on board with that
Yeah.
and that direction. I feel
Yeah.
for it for you to really get anything out of it. Predator 2 is fine. It didn't hit for me like Predator the first one did, and I've had hopes for the other follow-ups, but they've never really amounted
Predators.
too much.
That was the one where it was the Black Ops team, right? Predators.
There was Predators. There was maybe there was another Predator. Wasn't there? There's one with Adrian Brody in
Number
it.
4 was the Predator.
The Predator.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that one, they
He was
tried-
like in a town. Yeah, I remember that.
There
one.
was the Predator, which was the one where they took people to the Predator planet
Yes.
and they dropped people off.
Okay.
And it was a cool concept, and Arnold shows up in the end.
Yes, I remember
Yeah.
that.
So that was a cool concept, and I think that was their best shot at rebooting
revamping,
or
yeah.
kind of revamping the
I don't
franchise,
think
but
it didn't work.
it didn't work out for them. Like they never did anything with it. It just
Yeah.
kind of died out. And then you did, we obviously had the Alien versus Predator series. There was 2 of those.
Yeah.
Cool concept. It was fun, but didn't do anything to really move
No,
the needle.
didn't move the franchise
but-
forward.
I would say that Prey did a
Prey is good.
very good job. I thought it was a excellent movie.
I think
I really enjoyed
when
it.
you have a franchise that's very surface level like that,
Yeah.
you just got to keep it surface level. I don't need a history of where the predators come from. I don't need a history of the people.
Yeah.
Let's just get into the action and
I don't-
let's see how they deal with each other.
I don't dislike getting into some of like the lore and some of the background. Some of that can be kind of interesting and fun for me. I always feel as if it takes a very like cartoonish, a very like just dramatic kind of weird turn. Like I feel like with Predator in particular, it just got like really it just got off the road. Like it wasn't anything that felt.
It was a windy road.
Because
yeah.
Predator felt very like simple, very contained. It felt very like you said, kind of like a hunter coming from another planet to just hunt people. And I felt like the lore that they established or tried to behind Alien was just kind of goofy. It
Yeah.
felt very just not. It just wasn't cool. Like,
Okay.
it wasn't interesting. Which is where I think Alien might have actually excelled a little bit over Predator, because I liked the idea. I liked where they were going with the background of Alien and diving into that. Now, with that said, I thought Aliens, the sequel, which didn't do much of that, didn't
Right.
do much lore building, much more like in the vein of Predator even, where it was just very simple, straightforward, like action, alien movie. Concept was pretty like easy to track with.
Yeah.
Probably, I mean, that's probably one of the best sequels of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I think that they actually stole some of the Predators like vibe a little bit in that, keeping it simple and, action oriented. Whereas the Alien, the original one's not really action based.
No, it's
more
very science,
horror, sci-fi.
horror.
Kind of. Yeah.
Don't get trapped in a room with this thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So I always thought that I think that this Predator, as far as Predators are concerned, because we used to focus a lot on bad guys on this show, hence the name. But I thought the Predator in this iteration of a Predator movie was pretty cool. I actually enjoyed that more so than the other follow-ups.
I liked it. Well, I thought the elements of it, especially like his weapons, were really dated, right? Like they did a really good job of dating this Predator. But,
yeah, he kind of had like arrows for the most part.
Yeah, he had
And they were like
arrows.
space arrows.
I guess they were made of some
He had
type
a
of
pretty
alloy.
advanced tracking system.
That was my only gripe about.
Yeah, they maybe could have done away with that. It feels a little. That always felt a little bit like
The targeting
cheating to me.
system, yeah.
The targeting system is a little too advanced.
But he can turn
for-
invisible, but he couldn't. So that was my only
Yeah, but how are you
loophole.
gonna fist fight a grizzly bear and then just pop the tracking system on for humans? It's not comparable in any way, shape, or form.
That was my, and then
Unless you're
then
thinking that like wit is the challenge, and that's why the tracking system is.
I had I
there.
had a little back and forth with one of my buddies, my man Duke, and I said like that was my only loophole in the story, and I guess it's straight to TV. We can spoil it. Is that when he goes to blind fire, does that instantly activate the targeting system in the helmet?
They must be, yeah, they're connected.
Right? Because I'm like, he does it the first time,
Yeah.
but it's because he got, if I remember, I only saw it once. Did he get shot in the head and then do like the blind fire, or did something happen?
Yeah, so he gets shot in the back of the head,
Yeah.
blows the face mask off.
Right.
Right? Alien blood.
So he's like, yeah, and then I'm gonna blind fire and shoot the arrows.
Yeah. And she takes the mask.
And then she sets the trap for him.
Yeah, she builds the trap.
So what I'm trying to get to is, if he knows that he has this targeting system with the arrows, why would he try to blind fire?
that is a good question. Maybe he didn't realize
That it activated,
that
or
they were still connected. Maybe there was an intent that they wouldn't be.
his Bluetooth just
I don't
didn't
know.
fucking.
As somebody who uses Bluetooth on a regular basis, I can tell you it's very inconsistent.
Yeah, it's not.
So
reliable.
this actually kind of holds up.
Yeah, okay, all right. I'll give it to
allow
him.
it. I'll allow this loophole because I rarely am connected to the right speaker. So if
we had this conversation about
this could
Bluetooth.
definitely happen.
Bluetooth in the car. Yeah, it's not worth it.
Yeah, I thought that those scenes of like setting the traps and that kind
Yeah.
of like simplistic kind of like back and forth between
Yeah.
like these two hunters or people that were kind of like trying to trick
I thought
one
that was
another.
cool. Yeah.
But that was what was so much fun about the first one. And
Yeah.
I don't feel like we've really had that since the first one.
It
which
had
this
it had a
was
lot of
a
elements
nice return to
about the from Predator. Like when she was sinking
In the mud.
I was like, oh, they're gonna do it.
That was so
and when
sick.
she comes up, I just knew he was gonna be like right there trying to see her, and she was gonna see him. But they didn't do it just in that part.
It was just a great nod.
callback.
It's a great
callback,
nod to the first one, but also the fact that they circle back around on that
on
that point.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's actually a meaningful thing.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great writing
Very
for me.
good.
I give it like an 8.5 out of 10. Like, I thought it was great.
Yeah, but where do you rank? So where do you rank Predator on the 10 scale? Because Prey actually has a higher Rotten Tomatoes rating than Predator. It's actually the highest rated
Highest
out of
rated
all of the
Predator
Predator
movies.
movies.
I'll go Predator 1, Prey, and then you can kind of shuffle.
Yeah.
I'll take Predator 1.
So you say Predator 1's like a
One.
9,
What you mean?
9 or a 10. Because you said that
Oh,
Prey
yeah,
was
like a
like
9.
an 8.
Sorry. Yeah, I got you. So like a 9 or a 10. So Predator 1 is like top for me. Prey is like right there in number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Predator 2, and then Aliens versus Predators. And then the rest of them can kind of fall wherever they fall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Which-
Apparently, it was like Hulu's biggest like film debut. Or
What was the other one? Like Ted?
No, it was a It was a show, I think. I
'Cause they don't really get-
I read this earlier. There was, I think it was a TV show that really like took off for them, but this, I think, blew that out of the water.
I gotta give because this is another Disney
Property.
a property achievement for them. They took a franchise that was on the shelf and we didn't know what was going to happen with it. Now Disney owns the 20th Century Fox. Is it 21st Century Fox? 20th Century Fox.
Yeah.
IP studio. So all of those properties,
Yeah.
Predator,
Alien.
there's so much other stuff that's going to come out now.
Yeah, they're doing a TV show for Alien.
Yeah, it's gonna be dope. I originally thought Prey was a show, but it came out. It was dope, man. I'm on board. If they're gonna do them justice by doing it that way,
Yeah.
I'm all about
I was
it.
surprised it didn't ultimately wind up in theaters. Because I think it could have done well.
It definitely could have done well.
Now, the only caveat to that is that maybe not everybody would have known that it's a Predator movie. Because when Emily and I watched it, she didn't realize it was a Predator movie until you actually like saw the Predator and like
yeah.
got into it. Because
Yeah.
I told her originally, she was like, "What are we watching?" I was like, "It's an Alien movie. It'll be fun. Like, just hang out. It's good. It's got a good review. It's gonna be great." And she was like, it's a very cool movie. Like visually, the
Yeah.
characters are really good. Like everybody, it's a very like fun movie to watch. Outside of the fact that it's a Predator movie,
yeah,
so she was really enjoying it, and then we got to like the point where like
Where he
obviously they're
comes,
like
yeah.
where they're obviously like working, fighting each other, and it's
if
clearly a
you
Predator
so
film.
you
But
like this concept,
I thought the concept was great. Which is my point was that it maybe wouldn't have translated in theaters because people maybe wouldn't know that it's a Predator movie,
Okay,
and they're
okay.
really probably banking on the fact that like.
Yeah.
You know,
I think this-
if you're going to put it in theaters, you probably got to call it a Predator movie or let people know because that's really what you're playing on is the
like you can't like
the historic IP.
I guess you can't put out like a Freddy Krueger movie and not call it like Nightmare on Elm Street in the theater.
Yeah, because even when you watch the trailer, it's not clear that it's a Predator film. I mean, you could have called it anything else, and it would have passed. I mean, outside of the fact that the Predator is pretty
Predator
recognizable.
Prey. I see the play on words, but I don't
For
see
sure.
it relates
Yeah.
to the general consumer, someone that's not attached to the internet. It
Yeah.
really can.
I mean, I enjoyed being able to watch it at home. I thought it was great.
Hypothetical. If you could pick a time period for the Predator to go and do this situation over again and be a hunter, like where would you send him? Or her, Predator, all inclusive.
Yeah. So there was a concept of there was an Alien video game actually that was being developed, and we might have talked about this on the show once before, but it was in development and it was taking place during like kind of like a Renaissance era almost. So there was like knights and stuff like that.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, and so there was like a game where like you would play almost as if it was like Dark Souls or something, but
Yeah.
you were fighting like aliens
Yeah.
instead of whatever. So that's kind of a cool idea. I mean, the idea of like introducing a villain like that into a period piece or into a world that's just that's kind of a new concept. I think it's unfamiliar. We don't really see that too often, where you take such an infamous and obviously deadly character and then like throw them back in time. Everything's always been like kind of futuristic. Even the original Predator is kind of like these mercenaries and military guys. Like they have the best weapons that humans have.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind like ancient, like Greece or Rome, like 300-esque.
Hercules,
and then or like even like ancient Egypt. You know what I'm saying? Like where they're building pyramids and they find one trapped in the bottom or some shit like that. Yeah, I'm all about like mixing it up.
I think Alien vs Predator kind of
it was part of it.
Some of that in the sauce a little bit. That idea of like prehistoric battles.
They had been
taking
here
place.
before us.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, I was all about Prey. I love it. I might watch it again.
They dubbed the entire movie in Comanche also.
Yes.
I saw that, which
Very
is
cool.
very forward thinking. I thought that was very dope. Very
Yeah,
very
it's
dope.
like, isn't it the first film to be I think, dubbed in Comanche. Like,
I imagine so.
It's like
there's
a pretty-
I was reading that there's only 100 native speakers
yeah.
left.
And everybody, like, all of the, I mean, at least I guess all the main characters, I don't know for sure about, like, everybody, but they were saying that, like, most of the characters that are in the show are
Actually,
Comanche, like, descendants or Native American or have, like,
they did a great
tie.
job with the casting.
Yeah. Have, like, direct ties. Like,
I thought
back to
that was
time.
because when they start speaking, they're speaking Comanche, but then they transition to English. So I was like, oh, that's
Yeah.
kind of weird. But I was like, whatever, it's a movie. I'm gonna just go with it. So
yeah, there was that one Tom Cruise World War II movie. They did the same thing where they were all speaking German for the first like 3 minutes, and then it switches over to English.
just to kind of
They did it in Hunt for Red October.
Yeah,
Did they? Okay, yeah.
which is fine. I guess it's it's a movie. It's to set the tone, and
Yeah.
if you really want people to follow the narrative, you can't really have like a whole Schindler's List subtitle going.
Valkyrie. is what you
I
were
wanted to
for.
say Valkyrie, but
Yep.
I have. Yeah, I was thinking for whatever reason I was like, that's not right.
I didn't know
thinking
that.
of
I
that because of
couldn't.
Thor. But yeah, Valkyrie, yeah, where he like tries to assassinate Hitler. They do the same thing where they kick it off in German and then switch over.
Yeah.
I get it. I understand. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Speaking of Tom Cruise,
TC, my fucking guy.
he's on top of the world right now, dude. I mean,
Still so small though on that
yeah,
world.
he's
Very,
tiny.
very Jason Light.
Tiny man, but somehow he's climbed to the top.
What's he? Oh
The
yeah, he's
Scientology
got
thing's
these.
really paying off for him. That's all I got to say.
We need to get a sponsorship.
He's just surpassed Titanic, I think, as of today. Total gross. Just blew past the old James Cameron Titanic.
It's like number 7 now. It's the highest grossing
It's
film.
really working its way up there. It's still in theaters.
It's such a
I'm trying to go see
out
it.
of the blue.
I've still not seen
yeah,
it.
I still haven't seen it.
But it's hanging around. Apparently, they're trying to do a big push and bring it back to IMAX with like deleted scenes, and they're gonna basically rush the director's cut back into theaters.
There's just no way in my heart I believe it's that good. yo.
Everyone says
everyone that
it's
sees
so
it
good.
says
It's
it.
got
I'm
like a
like-
96 or 97%.
It's just hard to. I guess it's hard to believe in a time of COVID where theatrical releases haven't really been that good, and then we're in a time of like superhero movies are just kind of taking over.
Yeah.
And then this movie that is a sequel of something from like 30 years ago is now the seventh all time grossing movie.
Yeah.
It doesn't compute for me. Like, I'm just
That-
not understanding how this is happening.
And how has Tom Cruise not gotten like some flack for the Scientology thing or any of his other like weird quirks and like like he's an odd guy, but everyone loves him.
Well, I mean,
Maybe because he owns his oddness.
Maybe, could be.
he's-
Maybe
well-
he's just upfront about it.
he does all his own stunts, so I'm not really gonna beef with a guy that does all his own stunts.
It seems like everybody just like kind of looks the other way when it comes to Tom Cruise. Like
Because
there's
I
some
don't-
weird stuff that happened with him and Katie Holmes. Like if you go
Oh,
back and
yeah.
all that, like some dark days. But that boy, for some reason, like he just surfing on top.
I
of all
don't
the
know
bad
if
news.
okay. I mean, there was weird stuff, but I don't think there's ever been anything that's been very cancelable for Tom Cruise. Like we got to cancel Tom and shit. Like he's never. I don't think he's ever like abused anyone. He's never talked. Yeah, he's very safe in that. Like the only weird thing you can say is the Scientology shit. And I don't know anything about Scientology.
There's some
To-
documentaries you should watch, dude.
Like I heard it's very
I think there's some abuse in Scientology.
really,
Yeah, I'm not saying that Tom Cruise is doing it, but yeah.
but he's definitely like a figurehead of Scientology.
He's their number one.
He's their number one boy, dude.
I walked when I lived in
He's their,
I'm
their
trying to-
guiding light.
if it was New York or when me and my wife was visiting California, one of them, I can't remember, but I walked past a Scientology. It was when I was living in New York, and I walked past the Scientology building, and I like looked at it, and I was like, it didn't look like what you think when you say Scientology. It looked like a
What do you think?
I
when
don't
you say
know
something?
what
When I say
I think
Scientology,
futurist. I think
You think like a building? You think like an Apple campus,
that's what I think when
but
I
with religious people in it?
yes. I walked past this building. It looked like a candle store in Fells Point.
Yeah, it's in Fells Point.
No, like that's what it.
That's what it looks
like. I was
That's
like,
what-
it was like a candle
Yeah, so
place.
it's like Diagon Alley.
Yeah. And I was like, what? I was like, all right, whatever. And I just kept moving. Like,
No, nothing. Go ahead. No, I just feel like there's a lot about Scientology you need to learn.
I don't know anything about
Yeah,
it. I don't know
we gotta
nothing
get
about
I
it.
feel like this is way more for
Really?
to unpack it another time.
Well, I'm gonna go on a Scientology deep
I mean,
dive.
There's
I'm
a-
pretty sure that the leader's wife still hasn't been seen in like 6 years.
Yeah, there's a Scientology documentary on HBO that is fantastic.
Great.
You should watch
Got
it.
it.
It's
I'll watch it
really,
tonight.
really well done.
Leah Remini or
Remini. Yeah,
Yeah.
Leah Remini.
her doc on Netflix.
Yes, there's a Netflix one too. Yep.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Yeah,
I'll
so
deep dive. I'll do
definitely
some
check those
research.
out. It's very interesting.
Gives
Like
me
I said,
something-
I don't think there's tons of evidence that like Tom Cruise is like eating kids in basements or anything. But
Give me the
Scientology
base
is
premise
strange.
of what the Scientology religion is,
well, I don't want to confuse it, but I think
if you have.
it's
if you don't know, it's fine.
Isn't it
I'll-
like humans are kind of like alien spawn in a sense?
Oh my God.
And like
And they setting like your level of how devoted you are goes by like your Thetans or whatever.
yeah. Yeah, you have to like.
What?
There's a ranking order for
And
how
Tom Cruise
special.
believes this
Well,
Scientology
he's very high up.
teaches that people are immortal spiritual beings who have forgotten their true nature. The central mythology developed around the original notion of Thetan.
feet.
The Thetan in Scientology, the Thetan is the individual expression of Theta, described as the cosmic source and life force.
so
The
theta is,
Thetan is the true human identity, rendering humans as pure spirit and godlike.
And they have this machine where like you put your hands on it and then it like tests like your
how,
Damn.
Yeah.
in your body.
but they got money though.
Well, that's
The
part
Scientologists?
Of, yeah, that's
Are you
kind of how
saying
it
they have
works
money?
too.
Yeah,
they've
the
got a lot
religion
of
as a whole
Lots
got
of money.
cash.
Oh yeah, they got a
Lots
lot
of
of
money.
cash.
Like regular people. Like
There's a lot of cash in that.
regular people.
Who else is a Scientology? Wasn't Brad Pitt fucking with it for a
A
second?
lot of people.
What's the girl from Handmaid's Tale? What's her name?
Her, the main
I
girl.
can't remember
The
her
main
name.
Yeah,
girl.
I know what
yeah.
you're talking about.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 We never know
Yeah.
names on this show, but her.
Anyway, back to the original
Okay, but yeah, sorry.
bullet point here, which was kicking off about Tom Cruise, but we were really going to actually talk about Legally Blonde.
Speaking of Scientology, Legally Blonde.
Yeah.
Legally Blonde 3.
No. Yeah. Base.
Apparently,
There's also a Scientology.
oh yeah, John Travolta is
Kirstie
he's
Alley,
very-
Nancy Cartwright, Bart Simpson.
Bart Simpson.
With the voice of Bart Simpson.
Very good. Legally Blonde 3
Yeah.
is apparently
Move getting legs now.
well,
'Cause
yes.
we talked about this last week. It
Did
got
we
the
talk about this last week?
The motivation up behind it was because of what's it called?
Oh man, my notes must be off. Maybe I'm looking at last week's notes.
Was because
Oh,
of
yeah, dude. We already talked about this. I have another Tom Cruise thing. I just pivoted to the wrong
the wrong Tom Cruise story.
Yeah, the wrong Tom Cruise story. But you know what? Good for him, dude. He's in the news so much these days. All right, so we
'Cause you went-
know Legally Blonde 3. Yeah, that got legs because of Maverick. We talked about this.
Yeah.
That wasn't what I was trying to get after, though.
Okay. I thought you had new Legally Blonde 3.
No,
That's
the
why.
larceny's just setting in. Okay, Les
stuff.
Grossman, Tom
Speaking of,
Cruise.
can you pass that over?
Yeah.
Tom Cruise, Les Grossman, Tropic Thunder. Les Grossman's coming back.
He's getting his own spinoff.
TBD. I don't know what it means. Tom Cruise just said that there's something in the works with Les Grossman, the character, but really no information beyond that. So I thought that was kind of fun.
I think that culturally, as a people, we need
More Les Grossman.
more or less Grossman, but more
Acceptable blackface.
no, not acceptable.
I watched
blackface.
I watched like a little like
Tasteful.
I watched a little deep dive on Tropic Thunder the other day, and like just like how that movie came about,
Yeah.
and like all of the shit that went on behind the scenes, and like how Robert Downey like got into that role, and how everybody was feeling about the whole blackface thing, and just what a time, dude! That whole movie even took place.
Because-
remember Simple Jack?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, dude!
I think
The
we
absurdity of that movie and the fact that it exists is a real testament.
we just need more actors not taking themselves seriously.
Oh God,
More
what a-
Lex Grossman,
what a
more
wild thing.
more Matt Damon in Thor movies, like shit like that. Like, yes, you guys can fucking win a Golden Globe, but like,
Matt Damon and Thor. I forgot about that.
you know what I'm saying? I appreciate stuff like that. Like, it shows that you can't take yourself serious.
That was a lot of fun. Has he shown up in Thor movies before?
Yeah,
'Cause
he was in
wasn't
the last
He
one.
was in the last one. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, I was gonna say he's popped up before.
yeah.
Damn.
Damn. That's it.
I think that's all I had for show notes this week. I watched the new Beavis and Butthead movie.
How'd you
watched
feel?
that?
Now the show is out
enjoyed it.
now.
Yeah, I've not started the
I
show.
haven't watched it.
but I watched the
started
movie.
the show.
It was
How'd you
good.
feel about the movie?
It was good. It was fun.
It was fun,
Enjoyed
right? It was,
Hilarious.
yeah, it was funny.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff there.
Them thinking that the president wants to bone them the entire time.
Oh my God.
It's just it lived in the element of Beavis and Butthead. Like
Yeah, you have to be okay with it, like the mindset of it and the concept of it. It's one of those shows that you kind of have a hard time believing could have a resurgence in this climate. But sure enough,
it was good, man. Mike Judge, I don't know, man. When you got something, you got something. I just feel like Beavis and Butthead is just one of those.
One of those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
South Park, Beavis and Butthead, Simpsons. It's just one of those things that just can live on.
So good.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't think there's anything really new on my watch list. I think I'm pretty
I
by
didn't
the
even
book.
look at my watch list.
Prey, Beavis and Butthead. What We Do in the Shadows is amazing. Have you
Great
you
show.
watching that? What We
Yeah.
Do in the Shadows?
Oh,
What We
I
Do in
am.
the Shadows is
Are
such
you
a good show.
caught up in
Current,
season?
yeah.
Okay, great.
I watch
Such
it on and off. Like I don't follow. I just watch.
That
whatever.
show is like on the climb.
Yeah.
It's
Yes,
just
it
getting
definitely
better
is. The
and
second
better
season is
and
funnier than the
better
first,
and
yeah.
better.
Mhm.
And man, my gosh, so funny. 90 Day, we talked about that. There's so many 90 days now. It's hard to keep track, but
Yeah.
you had Prey, Love After Lockup. We know you love that. Yellowstone, you're working your way through that.
Working my
Where
way
are
through
we
it.
at?
So
Season
heavy.
2, season
So
3?
heavy.
How far in?
I am in season 3, and it's just like no one has a good.
How many
day.
seasons are there?
4.
Four,
I'm
okay,
trying
good.
to get through it.
And Wedding Season, which is something you're watching on Netflix.
Yeah.
What's that about? I don't know what that is.
What's the guy's name from Life of Pi? Right, I don't know, but he's
Life
so.
of Pi? The movie?
Remember that movie? Yeah. So I'm watching this movie, and my wife is like,
That's a.
I know that guy. I'm like, you don't know this man. And she's like, yes, he was in something else. And I'm like, all right, whatever. And she like IMDb's Wedding Singer,
Yeah.
Wedding Season,
Yeah.
and sees the guy, and then finds out he was in Life of Pi. But Life of Pi was like 15 years ago or some shit like that.
Suraj Sharma.
Yeah, and it was just a Indian based rom com. It was just kind of silly. It was, I mean, you know,
It's a movie or a show?
it's a movie.
It's a movie. Okay.
You know, it's just silly rom com. Something you can just kind of like put on in the background during the day or whatever.
I love that.
But like, you know, my wife likes rom coms, so
Very good.
I thought there's so one of the Indian characters is getting married to a white guy, and he's like, so like, yes, because in Indian culture, like the souls are binded for 7 years, 7 lifetimes, or some shit like that. And she's just like, yeah, like, all right. I just thought it was funny. It was dope.
Damn.
Yeah.
Boom. All right. Well, that wraps it up.
That's it, man.
Yeah.
Larceny.
Is good. Fine.
Adios.